Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello and welcome to Where Energy Meets the Divine. I'm your host for the time that we're going to spend together. My name is Manuchehri. I think it would be fun because happy Eclipse Day. In the States, it is September 21st. We're having a solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. And it's a big eclipse because we're in a really big eclipse cycle. I mean, you can always tell when we're having eclipses if they're big or not, even just by world events and stuff going on in your own life, So resting a lot, drinking a lot of water, not pushing yourself too much, maybe not a lot of travel right now, if that's possible. Just kind of hunkering down at home and hanging out with yourself could be great for you. So I wanted to talk about manifesting again. I know I've brought that up before, but this is really a powerful time in your life to learn as many techniques as possible that turn you on or get you excited about manifesting. I think if you could devote some of your energy towards it, it would be rewarding because we are in such a flux of perception. And that's really how we create things, is through changing our perception. If you want to have wealth, you have to feel wealthy. So you have to change your perception. You want to have love in your life, you have to feel lovable and that you are loved. That could be a change in perception. You want to have an incredible career, you have to feel inside your bones that you already have an incredible career. So that is a change in perception. You actually have to change your thinking, your words, your actions, because having something already in your life versus not having it are very different emotions. They bring up all kinds of different realities for you within this beautiful brain of yours. So we're always working towards assuming that you already have whatever it is that you want. So really work on manifesting. There are many authors who've written about manifesting. I love Esther Hicks, Goddard, John Randolph Price, but there's tons of people who've taught manifesting, and there's all kinds of tools. So find the ones that you like, that you think are fun and interesting, and really put some energy into it, because I think things are radically changing within the human realm. And so you kind of want to get on the bus with this now so you can start to let things happen a lot faster than perhaps they would have occurred even 6 months ago. Definitely a change in the energy since last year. And when you're manifesting, you actually feel better. You feel happier because you're feeling what you want as if it's here. You've assumed that it's already arrived versus wanting it. Wanting something is a low frequency. Desiring something that you believe will never happen, or it feels like it will never happen, slows everything down. You have to find incredible ways to be grateful for the way your life is right now while you feel what you want as if it's already here. Yeah, it's a learning curve for sure. And that's why it's fun to study different authors and teachers on the topic so that you can build your own toolbox and start applying the lessons right away. And these are things you do for the rest of your life. Think that you want to constantly shift your perception about everything all the time. That's really the truth of it. There isn't going to be a place where we're going to go, okay, I'm done. I got everything. You're always going to want more, or you're going to want to have some sort of upgrade to whatever you've already manifested. You're going to want more creativity, freedom, more love, more happiness, more health. You're going to want all of those things. So manifesting is something you want to be consciously acting on as much as possible your whole entire life with fun, with great fun and great privilege and great surprise, because it's surprising when the things you want manifest into your life. It's very surprising. It's really fun. Okay. I'm going to go to the phone lines now. People have called in, left me voicemails, and I'm going to go ahead and listen to them and give my intuitive, unique advice for each person. So I'm literally reading their energy while they're talking. Even when I do medical intuitive diagnoses, I at least need to hear the person's voice while I'm reading their energy. I don't have to see them, but I need to at least hear their voice while I read their energy. Yeah, it makes it easier for me. Okay, here we go.
Hi, Marie. My name is Alana. I'm in Texas. My question is, do you see a specific way that I can be helping support my body better? I've had a lot of health issues in the last 2 years after having my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is autoimmune related, maybe lupus or RA is what keeps showing up in the 3D for me. I am right now trying herbs and teas, anti-inflammatory things, and red light therapy. I am trying to rest. I am not very good at it, but I'm probably better than at it than I have ever been. So just wanted to know if you had any advice or if you see anything that would be helpful. I have tried your receiving technique of picturing anything entering the center of your back. I'm not very good at it, and I don't know if
You're actually doing good.
it's not for me or if that is
Yeah.
just a visual picture of how bad I am at receiving.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for giving these free advice, and let me know if you have any advice.
Suggest.
Thank you.
Yes. Of course, and I'm sorry for the discomfort that you're feeling in your body, and congratulations on your beautiful baby. Sometimes it can take a while for a woman to kind of gain back her immune system after having a child. I know it's been a couple of years, but some people it just takes a while for everything to kick back in. Carrying and growing a human being is really hard on the human anatomy, even though we were created to do that if we want to. Not because we have to, because we want to, but it can be hard on the human body. So you're actually doing a really good job receiving. I only see a small leak in your back, a small percentage of the back of your heart chakra releasing. But I would say receiving, it is not the most comfortable thing for most people to do. Otherwise, they do it all the time. It's something I have to remind myself to do all the time and check when I make a choice for myself that I later feel a little, for my mind, guilty about, like, that means you're on the right track. If you chose some guilt deciding factor that's going to bring you joy, you're on the right track. I'm leaning more towards RA versus lupus. The heart chakra governs the lymphatic system and the flow of lymph fluid and the flow of blood. And you only have a small leak in the fourth vortex. You do have a large leak in the root chakra, the first one. And that one governs all the bones, all the joints, all the bone marrow. Uh, Obviously, the properties are probably going to be more fourth chakra related in the bone marrow. So this leak, because I think you need to do inner child work, so I think along with all the things you're doing, and do your best to get a naturopathic physician. I don't know if Texas licenses them. I would be surprised if they did, but grateful if they do. And I think the best naturopaths, or the ones that I've met that are the best, are naturopathic doctors who are really comfortable with Western medicine too, because sometimes people need both, right? Or maybe they have a patient who needs an ultrasound or an MRI or a mammogram. And so we want naturopathic physicians to also embrace, to some extent, Western medicine. So look for somebody like that because they're really good at solving endocrinology issues. They're really good at it, like finding the true cause and building up the immune system. And they do a lot of tests that modern medicine doctors don't do, like blood tests, to really see the finite of your immune system. Yeah, they're really great. So inner child work is loving yourself at all the different ages of your growth. So starting with infancy, like the way you've been loving your child, can you love yourself at that age for yourself, like at infancy? It takes, for probably most people, a couple of months to really give that one age of your inner child love and attention and compassion. And then you go to maybe age 2 or age 4 and then 6, kind of just go up the scale, giving them what you wish you had at that age. Yeah, that could go great for your immune system, in particularly, RA, if that's what it is. So your third chakra, which governs all of your immunity, looks great. Has just the teeniest, tiniest of a leak. Like I really had to stare at it because I would have said, oh, it doesn't have a leak at all. And then I just stared at it one more time and saw the teeniest, tiniest of leak at the back of the third. So that's what I think. Falling in love with yourself and loving yourself as an infant, and then all the other opportunities that you can. So that sometimes that work works really well with a therapist. I like to see therapists who are intuitive and know a lot about energy medicine. I think those are the best therapists on the planet. Sometimes they may call themselves a coach, but they have a therapy background. I have someone on my website who I think is great. And so you can always reach out to her. Okay. Stephanie Moberg. I think she's great. So let's take care of this so it doesn't turn into something that Western medicine is convinced about, right? Let's work on this quickly. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Brooke. I have a question. My son recently passed,
So
very
sorry.
tragically.
Yeah.
I have been told several times by several different people that I am not going to feel him, or I'm not going to get signs from him until my energy or my vibration raises. Like if I don't get out of this depressed state or this state where I'm, blaming myself for
Right.
constant guilt or regret, if I cannot figure out how to get out of that, I'm not going to connect with my son because he's not on that vibration. And I just wanted to ask you if you had any knowledge of this, if this was true, if I do need to raise my vibration in order to, connect with my son or receive signs from my son. And honestly, do you have any input on
Like
how
how
I
to do it.
can raise
Yeah.
that vibration?
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate your time and thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Brooke, I just want to say I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about the loss of your lovely, lovely, lovely son. I truly am. So what they're saying is kind of true. There's just a piece that's missing, an important piece to the conversation. Yes, he is vibrating at a completely different frequency than the human realm, but I'm in human form and I'm a medium. Do I work on raising my vibration? Yes. Not to just be a medium, but to be happy, to enjoy my life, to attract better outcomes. But it allows me also to be a medium and to actually give medical intuitive diagnoses to actually help move energy, to help people release pain, emotional, physical, and otherwise. So there's truth to that. But the truth is, you are connected. You've never been disconnected. He is sending signs to you. He can see you, hear you, and feel you. And that's the interesting thing about people who cross over. They don't miss us like we miss them. I mean, sure, they wish that we could sense them and feel them the way they sense and feel us. And they wish, that you would be able to have the experience that they're having already, but they're already connected to you. They can totally see you, talk to you. What happens when you raise your vibration is then you can hear, see, and feel what's already happening. So you are connected to him. He is communicating to you. I guarantee it. You're not expected to have to raise your vibration right now. Like, it's okay to grieve. I don't want you to be so hard on yourself about it. And I've certainly met people who were in tremendous grief who have had profound experiences with departed loved ones or angels or guides. I can't say exactly what was happening. At a moment in my life, I was pregnant with my very first child. My child's father was not in the same state as me, and we were living out of Washington, where most of my family lives. At the time, that's where all my family lived. And I was really alone. I was very alone, and there was something significantly happening that didn't look like it was going to go very well. So I was pretty depressed and my energy was low. And I was crying one night, just asking for help. And I'm not a religious person in terms of any convention. I've never read the Bible, but I believe in God and, the vibration of Christ and all of that, even though I've never read the Bible. And I saw Jesus. Yeah, just came to me and calmed me down and told me everything was going to be okay. It didn't tell me what was going to happen. He didn't say like everything's going to be fine. It actually turned out to be better than I expected. So people can be in low vibration and receive compassion and guidance. What's interesting about it, and this is the part that maybe you don't quite understand, and then I'll give you some tips on how to raise your vibration, is it starts off really soft. So what happens for some people, because they haven't had a lot of experience using their intuition or getting signs or symbols from the multisensory world, but it starts off almost like it could be like something blurry in front of you, or a very soft touch on your body, or a different sound. So the universe is trying to subtly get your attention. And then your job is, when you notice the subtle whatever, is to focus on it, is to look at it, listen to it, stop, get quiet, get quiet. People on the other side will send coins to us, like all of a sudden there's pennies and dimes and quarters. It's very common. Certain insects like butterflies, certain birds like hummingbirds. I know Queen Elizabeth, when she believed she encountered Princess Diana after she passed, she believed it was in a buck. She was hunting actually on royal property. I don't know the perfect words for that. And she was going to kill this buck. And then she just had this overwhelming sense that it was Diana. And they stared at each other for a while. And then when Queen Elizabeth got home, she called other people who lived, in the vicinity not to kill this buck. And it wasn't killed for several years because she believed it was Princess Diana. So what will happen is, like, your son will put some of his energy into things that you would pay attention to, that would catch your attention. But you have to be in the stillness to catch the subtleness of whatever's going on. And that's just healthy for humans anyways. Learn to be present. You have a very busy mind. And so we not only do we want you to raise your vibration when you're ready, I don't want you to force yourself. I want you to love yourself. I want you to appreciate yourself. I want you to be kind to yourself, because that's going to raise your vibration. When you're feeling any guilt, I think all parents, no matter how a child leaves this world before them, no matter their age, is always going to have some blame, or guilt that they shouldn't have, because every soul leaves when it's their time. There's nothing anybody can do about it. If it's time for a soul to go, they're going to cross over. That's what's going to happen. So when you have those moments of guilt, if you could just say to yourself in your mind, honey, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm sorry you're going through this. I just adore you so much. That's going to start to raise your vibration. Self-compassion is powerful. And then spend some of that subtle energy connecting with things in your environment that typically do make you happy. But I don't want you to pressure yourself. It's okay to be in grief. I think grief is powerful, and we don't get a lot of opportunities to really emerge ourselves in grief. We work really hard to stay away from that emotion, but when we can enter into it authentically, I think it's extremely transformative, very transformative. So you're already connected. He's already communicating to you. He loves you, loves you, loves you, loves you. I can hear him say, isn't she beautiful? It's kind of like, he's looked at you a lot. You're his mother, but now he's on the other side. And even though he is your child, he knows that he's more than your child, because we are more than a physical form. And he's like, wow, she's really beautiful. And he doesn't mean just your physical, but he did originally when he said that to me. He means your inside. You're so kind. You're so loving. You're a very compassionate person. He feels even luckier. Like, wow, this person grew me in her body and raised me. Wow. Like, he's very proud of you. He loves you deeply. So be kind to yourself. Pay attention to the subtleness when you can. Let yourself focus on it. And then things will become clearer. And if you want to hear him, like you're having a challenging moment, you really want to have a connection with him, think about something that will make you happy. Go do something that will make you happy. Because I promise you, he's hanging out with you. He's not leaving. He's hanging out. He's going to wait till you feel somewhat adjusted. And it doesn't mean that he's going to be gone forever, but eventually he's going to want to go and explore other dimensions. But for now, he's next to you like glue. Okay, thanks, Brooke.
Hi, Marie. My name is Mary, and I have a question for you. I have a loved one with HIV Do you have any advice like on how this loved one can be able to heal themselves from this disease? Thank you, and I'd like to hear your input. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary, and I'm sorry for your loved one's HIV diagnosis. Luckily, we have a lot of really good drugs now that really alleviate a lot of the seriousnesses of HIV. You know, before our current administration here in the US, we were working on a vaccine for HIV and we're getting close. So maybe if indeed we're fortunate enough to have a different administration in office in about 3.5 more years, something like that, perhaps more resources will go towards a vaccine so that people who are high risk or have any concerns can get a vaccine against HIV, which would be lovely because there's parts of the world where it's at higher percentages than the United States or the UK, things of that nature. But the emotional component to HIV is shame. So some people embody a lot of shame in their energy system, and that makes them more susceptible for certain diseases like HIV. So if they could work on feeling very proud of themselves and adoring themselves and cherishing themselves, that can really help them in turning around this disease process and not even letting the showing positive in their blood, which is one of the things I love about the medication that's out. I mean, Magic Johnson, I believe he's the basketball player who is HIV positive. I hope I'm right on who it is. I hope. He doesn't even present in his blood that he has HIV because of the medication that he's taking and maybe other things that he's doing for his body. So that's what I would recommend. Work on the shame. Please take the medications that are available. And luckily they have lots of different combinations so that if some people are sensitive to a certain round of the drugs, they can have a different round. And people take much less than they used to before. And they're very, very effective. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I truly do. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. Hi, Charles. Lovely boy. It's Sue here from the UK. Could you give me some advice about dry eye? I'm lacking lipids, so my eyes are very watery and quite gritty. Sometimes I get blepharitis as well, where my eyelids swell up.
Right.
I use drops that have been recommended by the opticians.
Great.
And also a warm eye mask to help release the oils. And then sometimes I take antihistamines to ward off the blepharitis and when my eyes start to get itchy. I'm in my 50s and I take HRT. Could you see if there's anything in my energy field that's contributing to my eye problems? And also, are there any messages from my guides? As lately I've had lots of synchronicities and seeing certain numbers. Thanks very much for your time, Marie. Have a fab time in Ireland. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. I did have a fabulous time in Ireland. In fact, it rained last night while I was sleeping. I mean, everything looks so beautiful today. I mean, everything was green and happy here because, you know, the weather is a little bit hotter in Washington State than it used to be. And it just reminded me of Ireland. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the rain so much. I could really live at least in the summer in Ireland, maybe spring and summer. I don't think winter. I don't know. So I'm glad you're taking HRT. Vitamin D is really good for the eyes. It can even change the shape of the cornea. I know, crazy. I have a really good eye doctor and he likes, you know, my vitamin D to be right around 110, which of course now more naturopathic doctors are thinking that at least getting up to 90 to 100 is a good number. So I would have your vitamin D checked. Please be on compounded hormones. Please make sure you had testosterone checked too. That hormone is meant to be more in abundance in the female body than estrogen. Yeah. So vitamin D is really good for the eyes. So this is about hormones. Yeah, that's what this is about. Okay, I hope that's helpful for you. I truly do. Oh, no, one more thing I was going to say. The energy that can lead to eye problems has to do with not seeing oneself accurately. And what that means every single time I've talked to someone is that they don't see themselves in an elevated perception that is a true real reflection of who they are. So you need to increase your perception of who you are. Maybe ask your friends or family members, what do you think about me? What are my great qualities if you're not sure? And then start speaking to yourself in that way. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. My name is Natalie, and I live in Utah. I'm leaving this message right after listening to your podcast from February 9th. My younger brother died less than a month ago, and so the grief and the pain is still very raw for me.
So sorry.
And I've never experienced sadness like this before. He was my younger brother and died at age 44. Mm-hmm. We were very close, and he died somewhat tragically and unexpectedly. Mm-hmm. There were two people who called that day who had lost loved ones that had passed and who were really struggling. Your advice or your perspective that you shared was so incredibly helpful and was exactly what I needed to hear, and answered some of the questions and prayers that I had been struggling with. So thank you so much for that. My question today to you is, do you have any messages from my brother that he would like to share with me? And I've been working on increasing my energy so I can possibly communicate with him myself. Can you tell me anything about what you see as far as my energy goes? It's going to be hard waiting 6 months to hear from you, but
7, 8.
I'm so grateful, so grateful that you do this. It's been tremendously helpful in my life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome, Natalie, and I'm so sorry about your brother's passing. He tells me he's so incredibly happy on the other side. Even though he says you would never want to hear this, he's like, what was I waiting for? He just feels like everything came together once you crossed over. I think your brother's very imaginative and creative. Whether he allowed that part of his personality out, I don't know. But being on the other side for him is very creative, artistic, colorful, bright, magical. He loves it. Loves it, loves it, loves it. And he says he can be a better brother to you. He can be a better friend to his friends. He says he can fly to someone that he loves and wiggle his nose and send them light, happiness, make something really cool happen in their life. It's something he likes to do. Almost like being, a forest fairy. He really loves the other side. He thinks it's very cool. He said that he probably became a little bit more masculine than what he really is. And he didn't understand that until he crossed, that he would have enjoyed having more of a feminine side to himself. That's what he says to me. So I'm so sorry though for the loss. I think all of us would feel lost regardless of what we believe or know, or even how we communicate with the other side when people we really love cross over. But I really think throughout the world, and maybe not all countries, but most countries, we need to change the way we understand death, because nobody really dies. They just go to another dimension. And this part, what's so crazy is that if someone dies at a certain age, we make it even more difficult for ourselves, as if every soul is going to live till they're 100 and then cross over. Souls do not care about chronological age. They care about growth, experiences, and being in alignment. And to cross over is an alignment activity. To stay in one's body beyond what we desire is an unalignment, right? So we need to change that. We need to start looking at it differently. He says he can hear you talking to him and he loves it. He goes, keep it up. He says, talk to me like I'm in the passenger seat when you're driving. He goes, I love it. I love it. I love it. He just wants to be a part of your day. And he's very happy. So hopefully that will help you in feeling that connection with him that he's actually having with you already, and the conversations that he's having with you already. Okay. Thank you, Natalie.
Hi, Marie. I have a question about mediumship. I'm not sure if this is up your alley or not. My mother was mentally ill and very disruptive and damaging towards me all of my life. And she protected herself from my abusive father by using me, making up stories about what I'd done, and directing his abuse onto me instead of her. And so she was very mean, and she disliked me, and she kept telling me I ruined her life. And then being abused by my father, and having her direct it onto me. But also, he was sexually abusing me from like infant. Like I remember 3 years old, him doing things. So as you can guess, I don't want her coming through in my sessions. I'm practicing with other mediums, and we give a reading and get a reading. So I've really been loving it, and she keeps coming through. And at first I said no. And then the last 2 times I listened, she's begging forgiveness and basically saying she wants to work with me. But I said no. And then after the second time, I said, I really don't want to hear from you again for a good long while. I'll let you know when I'm ready. But she keeps coming through, and it's interfering with my ability to give readings now because she's hovering behind me and I'm feeling her things, and it's coming out in my readings to others. So I'm wondering if there's a way to set boundaries with her. I've already said to her many times, do not come through anymore. I don't want to hear from you. And she's tagging on to other relatives, like her sisters, my aunts, my grandfather. And it's like they're stepping aside to allow her to come through. So they come through first, and then I'm all open. And then she starts coming through, and I stop it. So I'm wondering if you have any advice. I thought Spirit was supposed to respect boundaries. And if we say, no, I don't want to hear from them again, don't come through anymore until I'm ready, and I'll invite you then, they're supposed to honor that. Do you have any advice? Thank you.
You're welcome, Val. I have a lot of advice. People who've been abused, it doesn't matter what kind, verbally, emotionally, physically, one of the things they want to learn is to set boundaries themselves with the people in their life and to gain their own power. That's why they choose to have some form of abuse in their life before they incarnate, right? There are no mistakes. And so she doesn't need to have a boundary. You need to have a boundary. So there's something in your psyche that's allowing your impression of her to come through, because I see that she can't come through. She is blocked outside of your auric field. She cannot come through. She can't. She would have to change her perception about who you are, or just people in general. Because she wasn't just mean to you. She was a mean person, in this physical realm, that part of her energy. So she cannot come into your auric field. But you could feel her presence if you didn't stay focused. So I think if you could come to some interesting perspective, and this is a challenging thing for you perhaps to understand, and this is why some healers or intuitives don't talk about certain topics, because they don't like it when people are insulted or take things poorly, or don't feel good. That's why some intuitives don't talk about politics, because there's always a beauty in all of the political situations that are occurring, even though it's almost impossible to recognize what those are. But from a high vibrational level, something is happening. Like maybe a whole bunch of people are going to wake up and have different value systems, right? So if you could come to a place at some point, you don't have to do it right now, where you can bless your life and get out of the victimization. And of course, I wish none of these things had happened to you, but anything that happens in childhood, we ordered it prior to incarnating into this world. We did. We're very powerful. Souls are geniuses. They're bright. They're smart. And so you have this fear of her invading you, and your mind takes over, and you're having this mental connection when she can't even enter into your auric system. It doesn't mean you can't feel her presence way out there, but I think your mind is bringing it in because you haven't let go. You haven't surrendered. You're not setting healthy boundaries. When I began to do mediumship work, I would be out in the public and dead people would come and talk to me, and I'm trying to order food, or I'm off work, I'm having a glass of wine with a friend. And I was kind of annoyed by it. I always did the work when a dead person came to talk to me, but I was like, I already worked all day. I already talked to dead people and did energy work. And I need time to myself. I believe in balance. I think that's incredibly important. And the universe said, you have to set a boundary that you mean, that you really, really mean it. Because if there's a wiggle in your boundary, energy can come through. Feelings can come through, impressions can come through. So I waited a couple months until I was like, confident enough with myself, like I'm already doing enough. I'm already helping enough people. I'm already available from these hours. And when I'm on my free time, no one is allowed to interrupt me unless I had a rule, unless there was like an emergency that was an arterial bleed, which my kids hated that when they were little because I was not I'm like, oh, you're fine. I mean, I would hug them and kiss them and get a Band-Aid, but if they're not profusely bleeding, they're fine, right? As a nurse, you just have these different perceptions. So I have a rule. There has to be an arterial bleed. And occasionally people get my phone number somehow. I remember this one time I was in an airport. I was flying home. I don't remember where I was. And someone called me. I didn't recognize the number, but I picked up, and I usually don't. And I was so glad I did. It was definitely an arterial bleed. Someone's family member was dying, or at least they thought they were, and they were, and they needed some coaching on what to do or what was going to happen. So you need to be clear within your own energetic system, not your mind that feels victimized. And I'm not saying you were victimized. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying she's dead, right? Like those people are dead now. You're in a different playing field. And there's good reasons, although of course my logical mind can't come up with any of them, but from an energetic perspective, there's good reasons why anything and everything happens. And people who are notoriously abused want to learn to feel powerful. And so when they recover from the abuse and they make different choices and decisions, they get a sense of empowerment. They feel good about themselves. They're not going to let anyone treat them that way again, whatever the treatment was. So embrace that. She's not allowed she can't come into your auric field. She absolutely can't. So, because her energy has to be incredibly compassionate and loving towards you before she'd be allowed into your energy system. So it's your mind that's allowing it through. These are not intuitive impressions. I mean, you could feel her presence, but I see her more embarrassed, slightly humbled. You don't have to let her in. I wouldn't anyway. If I were you, I would not let her in. And like if you change your mind later, I wouldn't let it happen. I would set the boundaries for many, many more years to come for your own health and well-being and peace. Unless it brought you great joy to have a connection with her. If it doesn't, you have no obligation whatsoever. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I truly do. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name's Felicity. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, but I grew up in the Philippines. And I was wondering if you would be able to give me some advice about healing or energy healing. I'm not really sure what it is. But so, for context, a couple years back, I discovered that I could somehow detect and alleviate pain in people's bodies with my palms. So, specifically my palms and not any other part of my hand, not the back of my hand,
Right.
or anything like that. So usually I would feel around the afflicted area until I pinpoint the locus of the pain based on temperature. So I usually feel out or seek out a cold sensation, almost like the skin or some point underneath the skin had been in contact with a cool surface. And then when I press down on it, or kind of, it feels like I'm digging it out,
That's
really,
cool.
I would
Cool.
feel some degree of discomfort or pain, almost like I want to throw up. And then I would burp it out. So
Cool.
I've heard that others also have this experience, but it's I guess it's a form of folk healing in the Philippines. Although I have had no training in this at all, and actually I just discovered this randomly when my parents would ask me to massage the pain in their backs. So since I'm based in Canada, I don't really know where I could start to find more information about this. So I was wondering if you would have any insight about why I came to develop this and I guess what I should do with it, and maybe where I could find more guidance. Really, anything would help. And thank you so much in advance. I hope to hear from you.
Thanks, Felicity. So you're a healer. You were born this way. There are medium-sized chakras in the palm of each hand. It's the only part in the human body where there's medium-sized chakras. And that's why anyone, like if a child falls down, they're riding their bike, they fall down, they skin their knee, people run towards them and put their hands, near the area. Or, are you okay? And it's just a normal part of life. But you have natural healing abilities, as do I. I didn't know I had these abilities either. So what's happening, and I want you to know, it could even be heat. So when I used to lay hands on people, I do everything online now, I would lay hands. I would just let my hands go to wherever it wanted to go. I would just get my hands have the freedom, which I still do. I do drawings of people and I just let my hands go wherever they want on the drawing. And if I feel heat, I wait until it turns neutral. If I feel coolness, I wait until the area feels neutral. I love that you feel like you're just grabbing it out. Now, the reason why you feel like you want to throw up, which, by the way, is not an uncommon situation for healers if their solar plexus is unbalanced. And burping is also common, right? People can burp. So when healers and a lot of older soul types don't have a lot of self-confidence or self-worth, which is a solar plexus issue, if you will, because the third chakra is all about self-love. It governs the stomach. And then you're doing something lovely that's a natural part of who you are. And so it's kind of pressing up against your self-worth. It's like your solar plexus is going, see, you're amazing. Look what you're doing. And you may have resistance to that you're unconscious about. And so you feel nauseous. And then luckily you don't throw up, but you burp. Right? So that's normal. What will happen as you raise your vibrations, that means you have to run your energy faster. You won't feel the pain of another, because that is something that a lot of healers feel. And it's cool in the beginning. It's interesting. You're like, oh my gosh, you have a back pain? Because all of a sudden their back hurts and it didn't hurt before. Or in your case, you feel that nausea. When you raise your vibration, which raising the vibration happens when we love ourselves and care about ourselves and think that we're amazing. It's a natural aspect of that. So that would be great. If you're choosing to study any modality, I think Reiki is amazing, but that's just me. Find something that makes you happy. There really aren't a ton of rules. I would avoid healing modalities that have a ton of rules. I would. I think healing is natural and normal and very effective. What I would work on, besides if you want to learn how to move about the body, that's why I took Reiki, because I was laying hands on patients every single day. And I'm like, probably should figure out how to best move around the body, right? Work on your consciousness, work on your insight, work on raising your vibration. All of these things will benefit your healing and help you understand healing at a very deep level. So what's happening is you're transmuting energy. You're a natural transmuter. You lay your hands on someone or a hand, and your energy inside of your body can take their subatomic particles and reroute them and release the stagnation, which as soon as stagnation is released from the body, then pure energy can come in, and pure energy is very healing. So it's like you're releasing it, and then vital universal life force energy flies into the body and restructures the area. But what's also interesting, what helps people to stay healed, is we have to help them change their perception. So you want to work on your consciousness, the way you see life. Allow more awarenesses to come into you so you can have conversations with people, because people who have reoccurring back pain or shoulder pain, they haven't changed their perception. They're still vibrating their awareness in some limitation. Yeah, so congratulations. I'm very happy for you. It's lovely. Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening today. And thank you everyone for the questions that you left a voicemail for. I have a class starting next week called Preventing and Healing Disease. I'm very excited about it. It is a 12-week coaching course. And then I'll be teaching a class on self-love in October. That's 8 weeks. And then I'll be teaching a class for the Shift Network, Translating Medical Intuitive Knowledge. And that one will send some emails out as it's coming up. You can get on the Shift Network. I probably have some things coming up soon. Okay. Thank you, everyone. All my love to you. Bye-bye for now.